So the next thing that we are going to do is review our special right triangles. So the first one that we're going to talk about is a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Okay. Now remember in triangles, so we have 180 degrees in a triangle. Okay. So if we have a right triangle, that means, and we have another angle, we can figure out that. So if we know that one angle is 45, we're just taking the 180 minus our 90 degrees minus our 45 to get our missing degree. Okay. So that's kind of how we know what type of triangle we're dealing with. Now, what's special about a 45, 45, 90 is that two of the angles and two of the sides are going to be congruent to each other. So let's just say that I label this side as x and this side as x, and then we're trying to find this missing side. Because we have a right triangle, we can use the Pythagorean Theorem that tells us that we can take a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And when we do that, remember our c squared is the hypotenuse. So this is my c. That's what we're trying to figure out. So if this is a and this is b, I'm just squaring those. So I would have x squared plus x squared equals c squared. So really we can add this to get 2x squared equal to c squared. And now if we are trying to figure out this, we would take the c, the hypotenuse, we're just taking the square root of both sides. Well, I can't simplify the square root of 2, but we know from chapter 6 that the square root of x squared is just x. So x squared of 2 equals c, which is this missing side. Okay. So this relationship is going to be true no matter the size of our 45, 45, 90 triangle. So we're going to use some shortcuts to help us solve those if we just know one piece. Okay. So anytime we know a leg, we also know the other leg. And we know that we can just take that leg times the square root of 2 to get the hypotenuse. So if we're going from the leg to the hypotenuse, we are going to take the leg times the square root of 2. Okay, so when we go this direction. Okay. Now, if we start with the hypotenuse and we want to figure out the leg, so we're going this way. Okay, so hypotenuse to leg. That means that we're going to take the hypotenuse and we are going to divide it by the square root of 2. Which means that we might have to rationalize depending on what we are starting with. Okay. So let's do an example of what that means. So if we go to this next one, it says a right triangle, the hypotenuse is the square root of 2 times the leg. Okay, so that's what we were talking about on this side. Now, if the hypotenuse is 6 units, so that would be this side because it's across from the 90, we need to find the length of each leg, which again we know is going to be the same. So to use our shortcut rule, I'm going to take the hypotenuse. Okay, so again we're taking the hypotenuse and we are going to divide it by the square root of 2. Okay. So that means that I need to take 6 divided by the square root of 2, and then we are going to rationalize that. So to rationalize, we're just multiplying by the square root of 2 to the top and bottom. Okay. So then this will become 6 square root of 2 over 2, and then I can simplify this part of the fraction to get 3. So, and then we would still have that square root of 2 left. So that means that each side is going to be 3 square root of 2. Let's do another kind of practice example. I'm going to switch colors here. So let's say I gave you the right triangle, which is a 45, 45, 90, and I'm just going to label the sides congruent to show that. And let's say I tell you that one of the sides is 3, and I want to know the lengths of the other sides. Well, that means that this side would have to be 3. And then to get the hypotenuse, we would take whatever our leg is, so 3, and then we're just going to multiply it by the square root of 2. And I can't simplify that anymore, so that would just be my solved triangle. Let's see, let's do another example. So again, still working with our 45, 45, 90. And again, I'm just going to label my sides as congruent to say that it's a 45, 45, 90. And I'm going to tell you that the hypotenuse is 1. And I want to know the length of the legs. Okay. So again, to find that, we're using this. So we're taking the hypotenuse, which is 1, and we are dividing it by the square root of 2. And then I would need to rationalize. So I'm just going to multiply by the square root of 2. So then I would have the square root of 2 over 2. And then this time I can't simplify that fraction, so that is just going to be my answer for each of those legs. All right, so what I would like you guys to do is pause the video here. And then I want you to go through and answer these example problems where you're just finding the x using the 45, 45, 90 rules.